Good morning, everyone. It's Trader Rob. Today is Friday, November 21st. Happy Friday, everybody. Looking forward to hopefully a relaxing weekend here coming up. Took a nice little setup already here early this morning. Not that early, about 7 a.m. with a signal that, excuse me, with the signal that I left for my Signal members in that group. Nice trade, short at 24,250. Knocked off a few $100 there. So that was nice. It was a good way to start the morning. Let's do this. Got some clean charts. All right, let's take a look at the ES. The ES, we've got this short coming up at the 66.26.25. Targeting the 66.23.25 and TP2 at the 66.21 with a stop loss at the 66.30.25. Again, entry at the 66.26.25, TP1 at 66.23.25, and TP2 at the 66.21 with a stop at the 66.30. Do have this signal down here. I'm going to review this one again at the 65.20 with a long going up to the 65.23 and then targeting the 65.25 with a stop at the 65.15. Again, I'm going to re-look at this one in a little bit. Entry 65.20, TP1 65.23.75, TP2 65.25.50. With a stop at the 65.15. All right, and on the NQ, don't see much on the charts besides when we get up to like 2,500. So let's see what we can see for this morning. Had some nutty price action yesterday. A big drop there. A few signals hit yesterday, TP1, TP2. The signals for, the signals since February have just been insanely good with the win rate, but this month I think might be the top month of signals. Actually, I think in March or in April we went, I think it was like 100% on the signals. But this month is going to be dynamite, that's for sure. And then quick programming note, I'm going to post this for next week. I am going to be live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Thursday, Friday, there will be no live session next week. Good morning, Nia. Good morning, Random. Coach Cleats, good morning. Nordic, good morning. Chump Sauce, good morning. Key, good morning. Scott Weber, good morning. Ty Turner, good morning. Mike, good morning. Let's get it this morning. I also, for my VIP stream members on YouTube and Market Signal members, they're the private members only live stream was rescheduled for Wednesday the 26th at 7 p.m. Central Time. So you should see that reflection on the list of upcoming live events. And if you want to get in there, it's a great what my thought process is it'll be a great kind of Q&A session for the strategy, the indicators, or I should say the volume tools. I don't use any indicators, but I mean, I guess you could call these indicators. I mean, this is plotting the IB high and low, my footprint charts, my volume profile, what I'm seeing on the charts, drawing up my levels each morning, which again is the most important part of the whole aspect, because you can't get that part right, it gets pretty hard. And I think you guys have seen already, I think the proof is in the pudding as far as where the reactionary points are at, how I map them out. They seem to always react. All right, let's take a look at the NQ. Why is this light so bright? I don't know why this light is so bright. Let's see if I can bring this down a little bit. That's better. I don't have this light on. Man, what was I doing here this morning? All right. Now we've got the lighting set up. All right, let's take a look at this little region right here. We got a nice little move. This happened around at 7:30. No, around 7. Let's see what we can find there. Interesting little spot here. Interesting little spot right here. Sorry, I'm freezing down here, so let's see. Very interesting little spot right here. Job so far so good, man. Started off the morning in the green. Took a nice little setup this morning on the NQ. I think several of my Signal members also got that one as well. Having a hard time with the entry on this one. Having a real hard time with the entry. Having a really hard time with the entry here. My initial thought on the entry here typically is right there at the 23,992. But the reaction could happen maybe a point or two in front of this. All right, I'll leave this one like that, and I'm going to have to mark this one up as price action gets there, and I'll see on the level 2 what kind of what's happening. All right, so right now, this setup on the NQ looks like the 23,992.25, targeting the 24,003.50, and then the 24,10.75, with a stop at the 23,981.75. Again, entry at the 23,992.25. TP1 at the 24003.50, TP2 at the 2410.75, and a stop at the 23981. And may need to adjust entry plus 1 to 2 points. That's what I see right now. So let the price action do what it wants to do. Let's look to the top side now. So even though we had some, we obviously had a lot of movement to the downside yesterday, but we've also kind of capitalized on several of these trades already. And straight down here, I don't really have much, just because of the fact that there was really no pullbacks here. There's no big pullbacks where volume can kind of stay unbalanced. Now up here, yes, that's why we still have that setup sitting up there, which is at the, I don't know why I just did that. That was dumb. What the hell? Right here. Sorry. We got the short at the 25,267.50, targeting the 25,258, and then the 251.50, with the stop at the 278.25. So that was like the origination of the big move. But during all of this, I got one little pocket right there that I hadn't looked at. Not much, so we might need to look at some fresh price action here this morning. Let's go down to the 1 again. This isn't going to follow price action, so... Yes, we got news coming up at 8:45. We got PMI. And at 9 a.m. we also have University of Michigan sentiment. Ten seconds here for news. Actually, less than that. Let's see what we get here. Okay, level 2 going a little nutty. All right, not too crazy. Not too crazy price action. Hey Keith, just make sure that if you take a look again in Discord, I'll just pull it up here, make it easier. If you go into the trade signals, so this is the current open signals right now, the NQ. So if you click on it, it'll take you to the open signal that has not been hit yet. I did update this early this morning. So we did have a few here from like the overnight session that hit and were not updated yet. Are you looking at the pivots line? No. No, I'm not. All right, let's take a look at the NQ. But since I don't see them, they are hidden. I don't understand what you mean by the ones that are, when you don't see them any longer on here, if they're not here, these are the only open signals that we currently have right here. So if you click on any of these 5, it'll take you to the open trade signal that's still open. Everything else has been closed with TP1 or stop loss. And I can tell you right now that 95% of them are all TP1 and 2. Now that I got some time, let me take a look at this 6520. Got news in about 11 minutes. Tony, how do you have no top wicks? What do you mean no top wicks? These are all wicks at the top. I'm on a 1 minute. I'm on a 1 minute chart right now. You know we see a hidden signal unless you click on it to reveal it. I'm sorry, Kia, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what you mean by a hidden signal. Oh yeah, Tony, maybe you were thinking when I was doing this, when I had it. That's just so I can kind of show where the setup's at on the screen as well. Give me 1 second, guys. Hey Key, if you don't mind posting in the chat right there, can you tell me what your Discord username is? Drinking tea this morning, which is recommendation from my wife to drink some tea, and not a big fan. Also shouldn't probably be drinking 3 cups of coffee either, but Key 39. All right, give me 1 second, okay? Let me see if I can I'm gonna have to do this a little later because I got subscriber mode on right now, and it hides all of your usernames, so that when I put it on YouTube, it doesn't show up. So I can't search it right now, but I will. All right, let's see what the ES is doing. Nothing much. Kind of a boring open here this morning. Obviously, guys, in all of the, I mean, you guys know this already if you've been watching my stream for a couple weeks. All this shit right here is all balanced out volume, so we don't trade in this garbage. That is the way to blow your capital very quickly. I'm gonna do a test here. Let's see if I can raise my gain on my volume on my microphone a little bit. I'll be right back, and then when I come back, let me know if it sounds a little better. All right, let me know if this sounds better. Should be a little bit louder, but just let me know if it's coming in too aggressive. So I was noticing yesterday when I was watching a replay of the stream, kind of felt like I had to have my volume a little bit higher than what I normally have other YouTube videos that I watch. Notice that YouTube is also acting kind of wonky. All right, I might regret this, but I am going to canceling out this signal here at the 6520. Let's delete that. Let me update that now in Discord. Trade signals. Let's see. 6520. Can you tell it's balanced out because it's in a range, or do you see this on level 2? All right, I'll be right back. GTO Johnny and I will answer your question. All right, GTO. Now, you asked a question about balanced, unbalanced volume. Let's go to maybe 5 minute. Okay. So what I would consider to be unbalanced volume is the impulsive move that you get off the 5 and the 15 minute. So for instance, right here, this hasn't been balanced out yet. Okay. This is an area that the market went very quickly out of and has not retested or rebalanced any of the volume that was sitting here. Likewise, we go to the upside. We can find areas right here. That's why we've got a signal right here. Let me just put a circle so you can see what I'm talking about. Right here. Unbalanced. Unbalanced. Okay. So the first step, as I say every day, the first step in my 3-step process to finding these setups is first mapping out your levels. Mapping out your levels on the 5 and the 15, like I do every day for you guys on in Discord. So if you go into Discord again, if you go to Rob's levels, they're mapped out every single morning. My 5 and my 15 minutes. Okay. So that's where the process starts on these levels right here. Then once you've got the levels mapped out, then you want to incorporate where those levels are forming on the volume profile. And then thirdly, using level 2 to confirm your entries and your stops and your take profits. Well, the stops and take profits generally come from the volume profile. My entries confirmed by level 2. So that's the 3-step process that you'll see. So when I say that this right here is deadly for you, this has been all balanced out volume. This is a coin flip, 50-50 proposition, no matter which way you want to throw the coin, no matter how good you are at gambling. This is all 50-50. Now you can scalp it and get lucky. You might have a strategy for range types of days, but how do you know that this doesn't turn into a quick move to the downside, like how it always does, and then your range doesn't turn into a range anymore? So that's how I come up with my balanced versus unbalanced areas. And you guys see I map them out every day. I tell you this is where the market has to go. I am all of my trading is really based on auction theory, and you know, once you know where the market wants to open and close auctions, you can see the general direction on what makes sense. The issue with just being a momentum trader and trying to target those areas of unbalanced volume is that how the market gets to those areas. Okay. For instance, market's going a little nutty right now, but let me just, all right. So the 112s on the NQ, the 112 sits right here, right here. This is an area that they can open and close an auction at right here. Okay. How the market gets to here is very difficult to predict. It's not a statistical thing that I can, there's no edge in me knowing that, okay, I know that they're going to open and close an auction here. The way that they get to here is it can go 20 points to the upside, 30 points to the upside, open up an auction, close it right back down here. Okay, so, you know, unless you've got huge swings that you can afford to take big stops and big targets, it's very difficult. I would rather position myself in areas where I know there's going to be a reaction based on the previous unbalanced volume areas. And, you know, auction theory is not the easiest thing to pick up on. I mean, again, level 2 book map will help you greatly with that aspect of it. But the basic levels, the 5 to 15 minutes, everybody should be doing that every day, every morning. That should be your practice routine. Or that should be your morning routine. I mean, that's what's in my journal. Map out my levels. I already have a bigger routine because I post everything to Discord. So you guys see that by 7:30, an hour before the market, it's always posted. You know, unless I'm on vacation or something stupid happened that day. But in the last 3 years, I could count on my hand how many times maybe that those were missed. But that's already part of my routine. So for me to post them, then it takes a good 15, 25 minutes sometimes to come up with those levels. But it's a great roadmap. It's a great roadmap. But the key to all of this is finding the reaction points, you know. Obviously, entry is super important. You know, I'd be an idiot to tell you otherwise. But secondly, and maybe just as important as the entry is knowing where your stop should go. You need some kind of defense in between your entry and your stop, and then make your TPs free-flowing as possible. So again, if you're coming, let's see, I want to do a marker, black. Okay, so if this is your volume profile, okay. I know, terrible volume profile, but my entry would want to be, let's say I want to take a short, okay? My entry, I would want it to be somewhere right here, okay? My take profits, I would want it to be somewhere down here. TP1, TP2, and then my stop, I'd like it to be somewhere here. And the theory behind this is that as we're coming up through price action, remember, my TP1s and TP2s will always have reactions to it, you know, and that's why you guys always see it. Some of you guys said, why don't you just trade your TP2s? That's not the strategy. But there's going to be reaction. There's a reason for it. But when you hit your entry, you want to be going into unbalanced volume. Okay, this is an area that there was a lot of business conducted, a lot of auction opening and closing. And when they don't have time to close it, okay, when we come back up here, what I would like to see is, and I use this as like the water analogy all the time, I want to see it free-flowing very easily to get down to TP 1 and 2. I want it to be very difficult for it to go through this big meat of volume right here. Okay? So finding your, I would say finding your entry and stop loss are the most important. TPs, you know, you guys see a majority of the signals go for more than the TP1 and the TP2. But I'm looking for easy free flowing. So right there, they closed out that auction there. That's big business there. You're going to see the absorption. You just missed it on the footprint chart. But if I show you on the footprint chart here, you had an absorption there of 65, right? 88 contracts, big absorption right there. So that's an area where they did an auction. That's not us trading. That's not, you know, you and me doing that. And that's 88 on that, just that 5 range. I mean, in total, the contracts there was a lot more than that. Yeah, Morgan, that was a huge dump. That was a huge dump right there yesterday on the IB low, or IB high, I should say. Was it? Yeah, it was a high. So random. I've got a video on YouTube. Sorry about that. I got a video on YouTube that I believe it's actually, if you just go into my Discord, it's easier. I assume everybody that's watching this is in my Discord. I mean, it's got so much shit in here that if I go into strategy videos, right here, so understanding the volume profile, this is where I kind of go into my TP1s and my entries. So that's a great video to watch. Actually, all of these are. I mean, if you're a Signal member, that's the reason why I put it almost as a requirement to watch those 3 videos, because those will help you out dramatically. And yes, I understand that I'm giving you guys you know, what you put out on a 13-minute, I don't even know how long that video is, let's say 15-minute video, over a year of looking at volume profile is much different, you know, and I get that. I'm trying to give you the framework of what I see. But understanding where your stops and your take profits come will ultimately start giving you guys results like what you see if we go into my signals again, the trade signals. I mean, this is just November that we're going to go through, okay? TP1, TP2, TP1, TP2, TP1, TP2, TP1. Swiped entry to the tick and took out TP1 and TP2. So we missed that one by a tick. TP1, TP2, invalidated setup. TP1, TP2, TP1, TP2, TP1 hit, TP1 and TP2 hit, TP1, TP2 hit. I'm only in the middle of November, and it just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going. So, you know, the strategy that I use will give you guys the right reaction points. It's just kind of studying where those points fit, and it's a little difficult. I get it in hindsight, because the volume profile will shift on you slightly. But when I first give out the signal, that's, I think, the best time to be looking at all of the tools and all of the picture to see, all right, I'm kind of understanding where this is maybe starting to come from. And I see it. I mean, I don't go through them all, but I mean, I do get emailed a lot and DM'd, you know, about a specific setup that somebody maps out. And I do try my best, but it's hard, guys. I'm trying to, you know, put your numbers back onto my chart. And it's a little difficult, but I do try to do my best to, and I see a lot of you are getting very close to figuring this stuff out. It's not going to be something overnight. There will be a light bulb moment that happened for me. It happens for everybody. And everybody says it, and you're just always waiting for that day to be yours. I get it. And I'm trying to help you guys as much as I possibly can with the streams, the live streams each morning. Well, this is pretty yucky price action. 15 minutes for IB to be set. Thanks, Random. All right, hopefully my wife's not watching, but I'm going to go dump this and go make myself a cup of coffee. Be right back. All right. All right. So nice little move there. So just so you guys can understand, this obviously broke structure, broke a pretty good structure. Pretty quick retracement back into, but this is the area that they just left unbalanced. Okay. And then from there, we're probably going to be late on this one. Well, no, not really. The strong move came from right here. So take this off. And that's going to be your reactionary point on here. Take a look at the footprint chart. See once you get... Oh, that blew right through there. I was going to say, it looked a little wicky right there too, but let's see what happens here. And again, this is short term. This is on the 1 minute. So this is very short term break of structure here. So this wasn't nothing like, well, I guess this one here was a major point that we broke through. So that was good. But we would have liked to seen a little bit more of a push to the downside there. But this is just going right back into the range. And if you guys saw the footprint on there, the footprint was pretty much all green right straight through this shaded area. So there was no reaction right there whatsoever, at least from sellers. Let's see. How long of a time period? All right, so on my higher time frame, which is the 15 and 60, I'm on a 120 day. And then on the 5 and the 1, I'm on a 45 day. And that's a composite volume. That was nasty. This is all those people jumping in, thinking that we're going to break out to the downside. The footprints are on the range, yeah. So my ES is on a 4 range and my NQ is on a 20 range. And to make things, just cleaner on YouTube, these footprints that you're seeing right here, this is generally not what I have. And I shouldn't say generally. It's not what I have on my left-hand side of my screen, which has now got the more blown out version of the footprint chart that actually shows it's got a point of control. It kind of shows you a it gives you a volume profile on every single footprint. The only reason I can't do it here on stream is because you'll only see like 2 footprint candles because I have this so narrow to fit this screen right here in my NQ trading screen. But it's not necessarily extremely important to have, but it's good to know like where in that footprint, you can see it with the numbers, but visually it kind of helps you too to see it play out. Wow, that was... I mean, this is where everybody just gets destroyed in trading right here. Actually, you know what? Let me do this here. If I can do it right here. All right, let me. So if I go back to the NQ footprint. See, this is now showing it as a volume profile. I think the yellows are showing the imbalance, and the bigger one is showing the, you know what, maybe I don't have the point of control. I think the yellow is just showing the big imbalance, but that's typically where the point of control typically comes from too. But then this gets very, very narrow. It's very hard to even see anything on here when I have the volume profile added onto the footprint. Well, I'm Key, I'm just putting that for reference purposes. I'm not looking at the chart that you're looking at on YouTube when I take my trade. I am looking at this chart right here. It's the only thing I'm really looking at. And then obviously I'm looking over to my left now for the footprint confirmation because that's on my bigger screen. I don't think I need this anymore. I think we get the point. You guys hear anything different on my mic? Does it sound a little bit louder? I adjusted the gain on there just a bit. You might hear my coffee hitting the table a little bit more now, but hopefully my voice is a little bit comes in a little bit clearer or louder, I should say. JW Brooks. So on my levels in the morning, the let's bring that up. Sorry, man, I didn't see your question there. My solid blue lines are the 15-minute, and the dotted lines are the 5-minute. So solid 15 minutes, dotted is 5-minute lines. And I started that a couple years ago, and I've just always kept it. So everybody should know that that's where that is now. Morning, Nate. Let's see, the 992s. This is going to be a tricky one here. From the get-go, this entry to me has been a little spotty. My fear here at the 992s is we might miss this entry by a couple of points to the upside. We might get the reaction closer to the 95s. But it's a little iffy on this one. This might be a good one for a footprint confirmation. And for those of you who've been hitting almost all the signals, I would say this right now is maybe a B signal. Maybe a B- signal right now. So I know it's difficult sometimes to be on the sidelines, but if you're looking for that A plus trade, this might not be it. Just because I'm having a very hard time with my entry here, and I typically don't have that. I typically don't see that. So I guess IB just came and went. But the stream music is not as loud today. Okay. Yeah. I did miss the IB. It's also a little hard when the IB, when the price action's so damn close to it. I would much rather see it pull back a little bit and then come and retest it. But you can't get everything. I'll be right back, guys. They're just in a fair fair value area right now. This is easy auctions for them to just open complete very quickly. This is very tough to trade this right here. As far as next week, I will be live streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. No stream on Thursday or Friday. See, every move is, I mean, this is disaster for momentum traders. On every move you would have gotten, well, probably stopped out. Would have been tough. Not impossible, but tough. I have a feeling that the 95s is what's going to give you guys the reaction here. We'll see. It could sweep it. There it was, right to it. Well, maybe it was like the 95.50. There's the tap. That was TP1. Just TP1 on that one. That was quick. That was only good for TP1. Well, that would have been my 8 points. 10 points right there. So we might need to go down to like the 2-second chart for that. So you guys can see that. Might take a second. Oh, you can see it right there on the screen. Tapped into the entry. That was a quick one. So tapped into entry, took TP1 right there. And then what did I say? The 95s. No, it was like the 97 on that sweep to TP2. So they balance out TP2. You guys can see this. They balance out TP2 pretty well. TP1 was left completely unbalanced. All right, get rid of this guy. Good job, everybody who got TP1 on that one. All right, now the ES and probably the NQ. Since we're on the NQ, I can take a look right here. They left this unbalanced. It's with the IB low as well. All right, short setup at the 24016.75, targeting the 2412, and then the 24008.50, with the stop at the 24024.50. Only concern here, obviously, is we got the IB sitting right here. It's going to have some volume there, so you could possibly see a swipe there. Let's see what the 16s... Let's bring this up here so you can see it a little clearer. 24016.75, targeting the 24012, and then the 24008.50, with a stop at the 24024.50. JT Jelly, I take them every day, man. I just didn't have a good thought process on the entry there. I thought that the reaction could possibly come at the 25s, which is why I had that text message there, or a text script there. And for me, it was more of a B setup, B minus setup. Still worked out, I mean, but didn't get TP2. So it wasn't the absolute greatest. Still worked out though. But watch the live stream, you'll see me every day taking my setups. So the ES, this is left unbalanced. This sweep right here, this candle right here just kind of destroyed a really nice little setup right there. This balanced out that volume before leaving. So that's unfortunate on the ES. Just can't see it really well there. Let's go here. So again, on this NQ short, the only worry we have here is a swipe to a lot of unbalanced volume sitting right here at the between this 24 and 27s. 16. I would say a B. B to B minus again, just because of this high sweep potential right there. They do seem to want to defend that area though. So we'll give it a shot. That was sweet. You see that? That's exactly what I was worried about. Son of a gun. Son of a gun. I think too, let me see how the footprint looked on that. Yeah, there was decent footprint confirmation there. So I would have taken that entry no matter what at that point. But that blew right through it. That sucked. Well, that one sucked pretty bad. But I took that risk knowing going into it. Got a good footprint confirmation on there, so even with the resting limit order, I would have hit the sell button anyways. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not a good start to the Friday. Took all my profits from this morning's trade. But so is life. Da-da-da-da. There's really not much to the top side either. Just going right back into the range. Mm-hmm. That would have been a nice little setup there. It's pretty ugly from here to here. Not much going on. All right, I'll be right back, guys. All right. That was a nice little bounce back on the retest of IB low. We actually got a good footprint confirmation there. Green footprint, negative 18 delta. That's decent. I don't think it would have got you much, though. Let's see. Oh, 25 points, yeah. Would have been nice. Well, the ES is shit. It's all chop. I don't like to use the word chop. It's all balanced out. A 270-point range. Okay, weekend key. Who's got some good plans for this weekend? Unfortunately, I got work tomorrow and Sunday. Pretty early. Anybody have some fantastic plans for the weekend? That was a nice reaction. I don't know, IB High looks very inviting right now. Rangy day like today. Could build in their own auction there. All right, I think I'm calling the stream for today. Price actions is kind of ugly. Wishing everybody a great, awesome weekend. And if any other setups come up from today, I'll make sure to post them in the Signal service. Hope everybody's got a great weekend and stay patient out there. Pretty much break even for the day, up $40, which is... Oh, man. Yeah, that's just my... Okay, well, have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you guys Monday morning at the market open. Take care. Going to the Packers game. Nice. Have a great weekend. All right, take care, everybody.